you can get a brand new quad slide under $2 million. Just press a button and it makes your bed for you. Just gonna hit the privacy glass on the driver's side. You can see that opens up immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have found one of the most technologically advanced motor coaches in the world. This is the all-new 2026 new body style Prevost Loki coach that's made some major improvements from the first generation Loki coach that we saw. And Loki coach is doing some really cool stuff that nobody else in the industry is doing. They've got a completely different design style. And this coach did have a lot of really cool custom stuff done by the owner of this coach. They did give us the opportunity to tour it this day, but this coach already is spoken for. And the Motorcoach store does have several new Loki coaches coming into inventory that are going to be coming off the line here for the 2026 model year. And this Loki coach is the 15th coach that they've built, and they're going to have one coach a month coming off of the production line. And the team at Loki Coach has a very deep connection with Prevost. They are out of Quebec, Canada. So this coach is converted to a motorhome right down the road from where this Prevost shell is built. And we got up a little bit early this morning to show off this exterior lighting here at Motorcoach Resort, Lake Erie Shores in Geneva on the Lake, Ohio. This is a beautiful resort, a beautiful location to show off this 2026 Loki coach. Now, the first Loki coach we saw was the previous Prevost H3 body style, but this is the new 9660 shell. So we can see the more updated, more modern front end with this very sleek design. And I like the simple Loki style on the front end. And then we've talked about this a little bit before, but this is a little bit more of a rounded edge here than the previous Prevost H3s. And that's gonna help with better fuel mileage and just a smoother, cleaner, more aerodynamic ride. And I really like what Loki Coach did with this exterior lighting. Not only do we have the large awning lights, but we also have undercarriage lights and then this mid-rail lighting here, and a really cool, simple custom paint design. I heard a rumor that the owner of this coach is a big Ferrari enthusiast, so I think that red may have a little bit of Ferrari inspiration. And the owner of this coach also has a private jet with the same exact paint job on it. And they did push Loki Coach to do a ton of really cool custom stuff on the interior that I'm really looking forward to showing you today. Before we go in this interior, let's take a quick look around the exterior bays and talk about some of the other exterior technology. And Loki is doing a lot of stuff that nobody else in the industry has done that I've seen before, like the electric car charging station here in the front of the coach. Then we have the SlideMaster power slide tray, and I like the way they position this, where this tray is a little bit higher, and then we do have some more drawer space below, giving you some separate compartments to maximize storage in this bay. The Prevost H3 is going to have the tallest bays in the motor coach industry, so there's a lot of room here for storage, but then they're also able to, put cool stuff in there like that electric charging station. Now this bay is going to be more fun to see from the other side because this coach has this insane outdoor kitchen, unlike anything I've ever seen, but it's more set up to go out on the other side. But here we could see the robustness of this build with the hoses going through it. You guys are going to be blown away by that exterior kitchen when we go over to the other side. But first, this is one of the biggest selling points of this coach. This has a Volta system unlike anybody in the industry. This has twin 10,000 watt inverters. This is a 48 volt system. We've got 1,800 watts of solar on the roof of this coach. And then these are the solar converters here, and just super clean the way this is all plumbed in. And two 10,000 watt inverters. I haven't seen anybody doing that big of inverters in a coach. So you can run the ACs, you can run the coach off of just the inverters. It's got 45 kilowatts of lithium, and there is an option to do 96 watts of lithium. So unlike anything we've seen in the industry. And these batteries charge off of not only the solar on the roof, but also the generator can charge the batteries. It's got two alternators when the engine is running, and if it's plugged into shore power. So 4 different ways to charge the batteries. And with this much energy, you can run the entire coach, like all 4 AC units, while you're going down the road without being plugged in, the whole coach. Turn on all the lights, turn all the bells and whistles on. This energy system can handle it. And talking about the generator, this is gonna be a commercial Onan generator. You can see here, commercial. That's a 12.5 kW generator, so just a lot of redundancy to make sure you have enough power to run this coach. And the Loki coach plumbing bay is unlike anything we've seen. I love the matte black look with the Loki badging, the matte black faucet here. If you wanna wash your hands after dumping your tanks. You do have your 50 amp shore cord on a power reel, also a power hose reel for your city water connection. This does have a macerator system, a manifold system. You've got your Garmin touch panel here to monitor your tank levels. And this does have a 170 gallon freshwater tank, 110 gallon gray water tank, and 50 black. So a lot of carrying capacity if you want to do some dry camping. And of course, nobody likes dumping tanks, but it's something that we all have to do as motor coach owners and operators. But they did make it easy where the sewer hose connection is on the outside of the coach, so you're not worried about spilling any sewage on the inside. And then here you've got a little compartment to store your sewer hose, just super clean and out of the way. And that does drain out the way that is designed. So if you want to rinse that out, it will drain. And I really like just having that, outside connection there. Now this does have the blacked out package with the American Racing blacked out wheels. And I love this simple paint job, but we did see some renderings of some of the newer Loki coaches that are coming through the Motorcoach store inventory where they have like the ghost package. One has got, different shades of black, one has different shades of white. Some really cool, simple designs, but very well thought out, and it really commands your attention and kind of a different departure from the normal kind of swoops and swirls that we've seen in the motorcoach industry. Now coming around here to the rear end of the coach, you can see the way that the caps flow in, and these caps were actually designed by the same designer that designed this 9660 Prevost shell, so really has a nice flow to it, really well thought out. Back here we're gonna have the Volvo D13 engine. It does have a 20,000 pound towing capacity, and I'm really impressed with these lines here on the rear cap, the way they did this 9660 shell, just a very sleek, more modern design. Now this is gonna be the side access to the engine compartment, and this coach has a pressure washer built in. I like that you've got a spot for your pressure washer wand here in the door with your pressure tips. And be careful, I think they should get rid of this tip right here because this is a 0 degree tip. You have to be very careful with this. I learned some lessons in my pressure washing career that not everything can handle a 0 degree tip. It's like a laser when it comes out of this, but it does work for some stuff, but be very careful with that red tip. Now this pressure washer does have a quiet box here to house it. And then you can see the foam cannon down there. I really like the way they thought of that. I don't know how many times I've been in campgrounds where detail guys are running power washers and creating a noise disturbance. So really nice to be able to wash your coach without creating a noise disturbance for your neighbors. Here we're gonna see the alternators back here too, extremely beefy. And I'm gonna pop this rear engine hatch. These alternators are 200 amps each, so super beefy for charging that lithium system. And this was also opted to have the air towing package, so you can have the air brakes for your trailer. Super important to make sure you have the proper equipment when towing heavy stuff. And most of you know about the Volvo D13, commercial grade 500 horsepower engine, not only used on several Prevost buses that are used in all different applications, from the entertainer world to the tour buses, the seated passenger buses, but they also use that Volvo D13 in a lot of the trucking industry. So Volvo is the parent company of Prevost, and safety has always been a huge priority of Volvo. So there's a lot of safety features built into this chassis as well. And one of the biggest safety parts of this chassis is this monocoque construction. This Prevost shell is commercial grade shell, so really built to another more commercial level than any other motor coach out there. And we do have a locking fuel door on both sides of the coach for the 200-gallon diesel fuel tank. You could put a lot of miles down in one of these without having to stop for fuel. And this is something really cool that Loki coach does. here's the signatures and autographs of the team that built this coach. And then behind this panel is going to be the holding tanks. So I like that it has the finished off look, but if a technician did need to work on those holding tanks, this panel can be easily removed and accessed by a technician. You know, they're really thinking about the serviceability in these coaches. The Loki coach team has been, heavily involved in the Prevost world for a long time, so they know what it takes to keep these coaches going down the road, especially in the entertainer world. They've done a lot of stuff in that world where, when those A-list rock stars need to get to the next venue night after night, they don't have time to be jacking around fixing stuff. They need to be efficient and get these coaches repaired and keep these coaches working properly and going down the road. So a lot of advantage, in the motor coach industry to be able to piggyback on all of that research and development that comes from the entertainment industry. Here we've got a Husky toolbox, and I like the way this is all finished out with like a marine style carpet, a very modern, cool design. And here we have some more storage, and then tucked back behind this area is gonna be one of the most advanced water systems we've seen in a motor coach. Here you can see this is set up to create drinking water throughout the coach. Here we can monitor our water. You can see excellent. It's got a PSI gauge here to make sure it's running at the proper PSIs. You have a UV filtration system that runs every faucet in the coach, so you can get drinking water. Now, if you do have your water in your holding tanks for about a week, you are going to want to flush it out and refill it. So there's a little spot here to drain your fresh water. You can run a hose out here. If that water sat in there for a few days, you want to always cycle it out. And then behind these panels, we're going to have the Headhunter Mach 5 water pump, as well as an auxiliary 12-volt water pump. So a lot of redundancy built in this coach. Coming to this bay, this is something I get really excited about. This is incredible. You've got this huge outdoor kitchen on a power slide tray. Outdoor entertaining was extremely important to the owner of this coach, so they custom built this over-the-top outdoor kitchen, and the team at Loki Coach was so impressed with the way this turned out that this is now going to be an option if you want to custom order a new Loki coach. Just extremely well done with some cool stuff I've never seen anybody else do. Check this out. We've got a wine bottle cooler here. I thought that was way too big to be a cup holder, but actually a chiller for a wine bottle. And then maybe you're having a different type of wine and you want to just rinse your glass out here. Check this out. I've only seen this in restaurants. I mean, super pro. I mean, even the pressure, we're dry camping right now. This coach is not hooked up to a city water supply. Rinse your glass out with that purified water. And then we also have an outside sink here, but it's cool the way they built this with this cover and just, again, with the matte black hardware, super sleek styling. And then we have a Fisher Paykel cooktop. We're gonna have this Dometic pull-out cooler and all kinds of cool features here, like this butcher block cutting board there. You've got a little pull-out storage area for some of your cooking utensils, but then this kind of hidden drawer here, and just extremely smooth with that soft close, and then also soft close here. And here we've got a super high-end flat top grill, and then below that a little spot for your trash and your recycle. And then over here, we need a lot of countertop space, just another sleek little extension. And then here we've got a wine cellar with the wooden shelving, super clean. Check out how much more countertop space we get here. And I love this wooden look, just such a clean look. And then we've got all kinds of storage over here, just a very well thought out outdoor kitchen here. I think it's safe to say this is the biggest outdoor kitchen we've ever seen in a basement bay in the RV world. And then coming up front here, we've got this huge television that comes out right next to the outdoor kitchen. And we were hanging out last night watching some music videos on this TV. Extremely clean picture quality, a great sound out here. We had it turned up a little bit. Hopefully we didn't keep the neighbors up too late. But you also have this power slide tray here, more storage in this full pass-through bay. And then again, another drawer here. Right now we've got the Dyson vacuum plugged in just to help cleaning up, and then you'll notice this rubberized material here to make it easier to clean these bays. You know, just so many little details, like even on this frame for the TV, you got the Loki Coach logo. And Loki Coach designs this so that when the TV is out, it's blocking this entire bay so that you're not looking at any of the stuff that's being stored in here. And then you still have access to your full outside kitchen, just an incredible outside entertaining area when this is all pulled out. Now it's still cool this morning, but a lot of times when you're out entertaining, that sun's about to come over the ridge here, so we may need some shade. So we can actually grab our touch panel that's housed here on the side of the bay. Here we can monitor a lot of the stuff going on with the coach. We can control, lighting, water, all kinds of stuff. But here I'm gonna go to the awning controls here. So this is gonna have the Batwing awnings actually. They're coming out on both sides. I hit the buttons a couple seconds apart. So you can see now we have all kinds of under awning space here on both sides of the coach. And even with these slide rooms out and the bay doors open, we still have several feet of under patio space. Now, this is a triple slide coach, and some of the big advantages of the triple slide is you're gonna have more awning space underneath this awning, as well as easier access to your bays. If it was a quad slide, you'd have to kind of duck below a bay a little bit. It's not terrible, but the triple slide really is a sweet spot. And when we look at the interior, the first time I walked into the interior, I was talking with some folks that are talking about buying a new Loki coach, and I thought that this was a quad slide. The way that it's designed and the feel in the salon, for some reason I was thinking it was a quad, but it is actually a triple slide. So we're really looking forward to showing you guys the interior here. And you can see we've got the doorbell camera here. So let's ring the doorbell here, see if we can get access to the inside of this coach.
Oh, who's here? Hello, who's here?
Yeah, I heard you've got the most technologically advanced motorhome in the world here.
Yes, you want to come see it?
I'd love to.
All right, please come in. I'm unlocking the door.
Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big step up. Jeff, how you doing today, sir?
Very good, yourself.
Excellent, thank you. You and the team at Loki Coach have knocked it out of the park with this design. What's all new for the next generation Loki Coach?
You get a new design here that from the Generation 1. We've been redesigning a lot of things, so listening to customer, their feedback, trying to improve and make the best motor coach in the world.
Well, I think you guys have stepped up big time from this. I'm really looking forward to checking this coach out.
And thank you very much for doing the tour and sharing this beautiful product with everybody.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
The interior of this coach is a big step up from the previous generation Loki coach we've seen, and this was custom designed. So the owner of this coach chose to have the darker cabinets with the darker countertops, but this coach is so well lit that we can still get away with the darker colors and it doesn't feel like a cave in here. Now, one of the features about this coach that I really like is we've got different options with the windows. Right now we've got all of the shades down, but we also have the frosted glass feature. We've got this tablet that we can control a lot of the systems with this coach. And we'll press one button and you can see all of the shades coming up in sync. And then when the shades are open, you still can't see out of the glass right now because this has the privacy glass. So if you wake up in the morning and you want to get a little bit of natural light coming in the coach without firing up all of this bright lighting, you have that option where you can just open up the shades, let that natural light in, get your cup of espresso or cappuccino going first thing. There's a lot of creature comforts in this coach to make your life more comfortable. And again, on this tablet, we have all kinds of options. I love that we have the exterior of the coach in the screen here, but here we go to the smart privacy glass. Say you've got some neighbors on this side that you want your privacy from, but a beautiful view over on this side. I'm just gonna hit the privacy glass on the driver's side. You can see that opens up immediately. We've got a nice view of the pool at the Motorcoach Resort Lake Erie Shores here. And then if we decide we want some more privacy, we just press that button again and boom, frosted glass. Something I've never seen any other motor coach companies doing, and I think a lot of people are gonna really appreciate this feature. And I know the team at Loki Coach learned from the aviation industry on this technology. That's something that's used in a lot of high-end aircraft. And I'm really looking forward to showing you this floor plan. This is a bunk model bath and a half floor plan, very well thought out. Now, as the sun comes up on a summer day like today, you can see it's starting to come through that window back there. It's getting a little bit bright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just drop down the shades here, all by pressing one button. Now, this is a bunk model bath and a half floor plan, so I'm really looking forward to showing you the rest of the coach, but check out how large this galley is. A lot of countertop space and so many cool little features like we saw outside in the outdoor kitchen. We've got this kind of wood block or butcher block that slides right up, and then it comes flush with the countertop, so you've got that same level, and that's gonna add a little countertop space. We also have the Invisa cooktop here, where you can actually cook a meal on your countertop without taking up any countertop space. Really cutting edge technology, and we're gonna show you more in the galley, but there's a bunch of features up front here that I went right past. So much beautiful lighting in this coach, that straight line lighting, more indirect lighting back there. But one of my favorite parts about the Loki coach is the way this folds out. Actually, I'm gonna just move these pillows. I've got to compliment them on the Hermes pillows there as well. I like that stitching on the back. We can press a button and now this couch will fold out. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in motorhomes where it's just, you know, trying to pull a jackknife out or trying to pull it out. It's just a little uncomfortable, but some stuff in life, it's just easier to press a button. And if you look closely on this mattress, it looks like it's made in Italy. So of course, you know, very high-end materials that go into these coaches. Now you've got extra sleeping. We're still gonna show you bunks, a lot of sleeping in this coach. And then in the morning, when it's time to get up and get rolling, just press a button and it makes your bed for you. Easy like Sunday morning, and a very comfortable couch as well. Now we also have the love seat across the way here. And this was custom ordered. Normally this would be like a chair. And then we also have this swiveling TV. This does drop down on a televator to tuck out of the way. But for some reason, when I originally came in this coach, I was thinking it was a quad slide. I hadn't really paid attention to the outside and really looked at it. But the way that the entryway is, you have your passenger chair here and then this housing for that TV, but the flow tucks back a couple inches here to give it kind of a recessed look. And then this countertop isn't quite as deep. So really a lot of room in the salon. Even though there's only one slide on this side, it's still very livable. And then the plus to that is when the slide room comes in, you still have a lot of space while you're going down the road. And then there is some overhead cabinets, and I'm usually not a fan of the overhead cabinets on this door side, but the way they tuck them up higher above the Prevost window, it's really not taking away from your view. And then you've got some nice storage overhead, very high quality hinges, and you just really feel that quality when you open and close these cabinet doors. And then having those tucked back as well just gives it a really nice flow in this coach. So now, depending on where you're sitting, you can swivel this TV, and I think if you had more of an office or a recliner chair, this could be kind of an office setup, a really versatile design here, but this owner did opt for the love seat. But when we want to tuck this out of the way, kind of free up this space, we'll swivel it so that it's parallel with the televator. And then if you look closely at this screen right here, you can see we have a little button for the office and just one touch, so I don't have to hold a button down. And then now that's coming down very smoothly, no binding, no noises. And then when this comes down, it's going to have a flush countertop space. So you have some nice countertop space here towards the front of the coach. And even with the darker color countertops, you've got so much light in this coach that it really is not an overwhelming feel. They really pulled these darker colors off well. Now, coming up to the front of the coach, this is the new body style 9660. So the first thing you're going to notice is the E-mirrors. And I want to point out just how clear the mirrors are. So there's a lot of advantages to these E-mirrors. At night, you can just see so much more clear than trying to look out of your windows at your traditional mirrors. You have this very large, clear screen. We could touch the bus to scroll through the different features that we can control. And up here with the slide rooms, here we've got our slide room controls. Loki Coach is doing something that I don't see other Prevost converters doing. We can actually run the slide rooms in without the engine running. So, a lot of times when you fire up your coach and you want to leave early in the morning and you've got to spend a couple minutes to put your slide rooms in, some of your neighbors may be hearing that noise from that diesel engine, especially if they're not in a Prevost coach. If they're in a production motorhome, they're not as sealed off as the Prevost is, so noises are going to come in a little bit more. So out of respect for your neighbors at the different campgrounds and RV resorts, really nice to be able to put your slide rooms in without having to run that diesel engine for a couple more minutes. You can do that all off the lithium system without a generator. So the Loki team is really thinking of a lot of little stuff like that. Now, one of the things that really caught my eye as soon as we came in is the style of these seats. You can see the Loki coach embroidered in like this little suede inlay and a very cool pattern and design on these captain's chairs. Now the 9660 shell is going to have a more ergonomic cockpit than the previous Prevost. You can adjust the seats to all different settings. You have a nice spot for a cup holder. We have a real carbon fiber dash and a lot of controls at your fingertips on the steering wheel that just make life much easier. To be able to, change your volume or change your music. You can answer your Bluetooth telephone all from the steering wheel controls. And Loki even did a nice little touch like this cup holder that's fully upholstered. Just a very refined look here for the cockpit for the driver. But one of the other cool features about this coach is on your entry door, you have this Garmin panel here where we can control a lot of the lighting. So if you're outside the coach and you want to walk up and control your lighting and control some stuff before you walk into the coach, you can do all of that from the entry door. And then we've got carbon fiber here, as well as a carbon fiber grab handle with a slight curve. Beautiful dash here with that carbon fiber. And then we also have like a woven marine vinyl mats here in the entryway, just giving it a real finished off look, and those are very easy to clean. And talking about the floors, this does have heated floors. There are 3 zones of heated tile floors. And even the floors on your booth in your dinette are heated as well. And this dinette has a really cool setup where you can actually swivel this table. So say, someone's maybe sitting over there and you don't want to interrupt them and you want to sit right here, you can just swivel this out. It's super easy, super user-friendly. And we do have this carbon fiber meal tray out right now. And this is a real stone table. Now this will adjust in and out as well to make it more comfortable. And then when the slide rooms come in, you're going to want to have it more in the in position to give you maximum space in your walkway. And I'm really impressed with the way they design these overhead cabinets, because I'm very, sensitive to having headroom and having that feel, but you still have a little bit of storage here. They're not quite as deep as some of the other cabinets, but I prefer this because then you're gaining headroom and I'm not worried about hitting my head on cabinets when getting in and out of the booth area here. And it just creates a much more open feel. And then with that nice lighting and the indirect lighting, we even have lighting below the cabinets here. Just, so many subtle touches that really take it over the top. And then this stitching and the pattern on the backing of this booth area reminds me of some of the Mercedes-Benz S-Class patterns. Just a very refined, modern look to it. And as I look below the table here, the housing of this dinette is super beefy. That's going to keep this from rattling while you're going down the road, trying to give the end user a very stable experience. And then coming back to the Galley here, we're jumping around a little bit. I get really excited about all these different features, but they're doing a lot of cool stuff. You've got your dishwasher below here. Give it a couple knocks there. That's a Fisher Paykel dishwasher. And then you have a deep drawer here, 4 pots and pans. It has the pegboard here. So depending on what you're storing in here, you can configure that to fit your needs. You've got that silverware divider there. Really nice look. And this is a totally different style of divider than what we see in the other motorhomes. Some of them start to look alike, but really a fresh look. Again, you have that divider here, and then that Invisa cooktop. It's going to be a microwave convection oven and air fryer, and really cool matte black finish that really matches these cabinets well. It's hard to pull off the different matte black colors and get them to line up, but they really nailed it in this coach. It's a real porcelain sink cover here, very heavy duty. And then when we want to store that out of the way, we've got a little compartment for it here. It just falls into place. And then if we want to switch it up, we also have a wood block. And the way they designed the sink, it's got a little lip right here, which makes it easy for that to stay in place. And I like that look with the lighter wood just to break it up a little bit. So much cool technology built into this coach. Like the sink has a little touch to it. I'm going to move this countertop out of the way, but you can just tap it here. Boom, wash your hands a little bit, Cap it right there. Very clever design. I've never seen that before. Usually there would be a window behind the galley here to maximize your view, but the owner of this coach did opt to have this backsplash that matches the countertop come up here and gives it a really nice, more of a residential finish. And I've got to tip my hat to the owner of this coach because I feel like it's a little risky to try to pull off the dark backsplash, dark countertops, and dark cabinets, but really came together nicely. Now here we've got some pantry space, and you can really feel that quality when we open and close these. And if you look closely, you'll see the dovetail construction. Then you'll also see this R here with Rashan. And Rashan is a well-known cabinet maker known for very high-end cabinets and is actually partnered with Loki to help build these coaches. So taking a lot of that skill and craftsmanship and then tying it into the Loki name. So there's a lot of wisdom that comes into building these coaches. It's not just like some guys that just started building coaches. There's some very skilled craftsmen involved that have been doing this stuff for a long time in other platforms, but just putting it all together in the Loki coach to create this amazing machine. Now, coming to the back of the coach, I love the look of this wooden door. It's got that kind of Scandinavian design. And you'll also notice the way it flows with the ceiling. Now, this ceiling is a little bit different than the previous generation Loki coach we saw. It's got this kind of notch out just to give it a little different flow, but a really cool feel in this coach. And we can just press a button right here. That's going to open that pocket air door. And then now we're coming back into the bunk area of the coach. And these are 78-inch long bunks. You can see outlets in each bunk, as well as lighting controls. You've got some really nice indirect lighting. And I believe that's like a suede material on the ceiling here. Again, indirect lighting on the front of the bunk. There's lots of nice little touches and that same wood ceiling treatment like we saw in the salon with that straight line lighting. And this half bathroom has a totally different feel. I really like this sink. It's a much taller sink, much more modern style design. These wooden cubbies, just very well thought out half bathroom here, and just such a different departure than any other motorhome out there. I feel like some of the motorhome companies start to get a little bit similar and seem to be similar, but Loki is really thought outside of the box and doing stuff like this sink. And even the drain, like you cannot see where the drain is in this sink. Really cool design. And we also have some good medicine cabinet space with outlets in the medicine cabinet. So if your guests are using the bunks, they've still got some good storage. And then of course, it's a bidet toilet, an extremely high-end toilet. And you'll notice on the ceiling here, that wood block with that indirect lighting. And then there's a little ventilation here because there is a vent with a fan, but you can barely even realize it's there because it's such a finished off look. And I still have plenty of headroom. I'm 6'2", plenty of headroom here in the half bathroom, but I will point out that the ceiling did drop a little bit in the half bathroom to give it that really cool look. And just, more medicine cabinet space here behind the head, a good amount of storage, really utilizing every square inch in this half bathroom. And then, talking about storage here, below the bunks, we're going to have these pull-out drawers with the soft close and a lot of storage space in your bunk area. Now, across from the bunks, you're going to have a washer and dryer. A really nice feel on these cabinet doors. I touch and feel a lot of motorhomes, and they have a little, different feel because I'm feeling like a metal brace right here on the edge of the door. I don't know if you can see this, but that's actually metal right there. And then you got a very durable, composite material here. And then this door will tuck back, and then you click it into place to make sure that it's not going to swing open while you're going down the road. Here you've got easy access to your washer and dryer. And I like that these are right across from the bunks. I feel like this would be a pretty good place to maybe fold some clothes, maybe throw your laundry here in the bunk area, get your laundry knocked out here. And then when you're done with laundry, you'll just push those in to release those doors. And then these cabinet doors just look like they're meant to be a bulkhead wall. Hard to even tell that there's storage back there. We'll press another button to go into the rear suite back here. Now this does have the 2 slide rooms, but being a bunk model, this does not have the super slides. Some of the other Loki models that are coming through their production right now are going to have the super slides, which is going to give it a little bit bigger feel in the bedroom, but there's a little give and take to have those bunks. And we've got that AC blowing ice cold back here. Now, this was all custom done. This owner wanted to have some closet space, and they did some cool stuff here. When we open these up, you got a very well-lit closet, But then here we can pull this out, and this is actually a hanging bar so that you're pulling your clothes out of the closet. And then you've got the glass doors with some good shelving, so a good amount of storage. More storage here below with some nice drawer space. But when you've put all of your clothes away and it's time to unwind for the evening, you've got your remote right here. You'll notice again, nice straight line lighting. But when we fire up the projector here, you can see now we've got this screen coming down, and across the way here, you'll notice the projector in the overhead cabinets. We do have that open right now, but it will tuck out of sight, out of mind when you're not using it. And now you've got a huge TV in your rear bedroom and an extremely clear frame there. Very well thought out design in this bedroom. Now again, a really nice touch with the orange tones with the Hermes pillows. And I'll point out here on both sides of the bed, we do have a little bit of countertop space with outlets, and right now the bed is in the folded up position. And then this touch panel here, like we saw in the salon, where you can control all of the different systems in the coach conveniently while you're laying in bed. And you'll notice another Garmin touch panel here, so a lot of different spots to control the systems of the coach. And then on this side of the bed, we've got more outlets and USB ports, some nice countertop space, and then another touch panel so you have access on both sides of your bed to control the systems. Now, looking back into that rear shower there, we've got a really cool shower, and right now that glass is open. Some of you, may be a little less modest than others and want to, strut your stuff and let your partner take a peek while you're taking a shower. Or if you want your privacy, we do have privacy glass like we saw on the front of the coach. We just press a button and the show's over. And we have another door going into the rear bathroom. They're doing some really cool stuff back there. And I love that wood design, the way it breaks up the darker matte blacks. But check this out, ladies and gentlemen. So we have another bidet toilet and a lot of cool features. Like, here's your toilet paper roll right here. We all need TP. Well, I guess if you have the bidet, you may not need your TP, but just in case, you've got this drawer that pulls out, so perfect spot to store some extra toilet paper rolls. And then that TP roll is right there. We're also gonna have another pull-out pantry. Again, that high-end feel of the high-end cabinets from Rashan. Another pull-out drawer there. Just cool the way these two drawers come out, but then you have the option to leave that one in. And again, all soft close. We've got some more storage overhead here. And then this is almost like a little art recess here with some nice lighting in it above your towel hanger. And here below the sink, this is something cool. You've got a spot set up for a hairdryer there just so that it fits perfectly in place. And then some nice drawer space below your sink. And then this sink it's one of those, drainless sinks again, where you can't see the drain. And we have some good medicine cabinet space, and we can tilt these out. So when you're doing your hair, you can see both sides. And then you can see very clean with outlets and adjustable shelving in your medicine cabinets. A good amount of storage. And then one of my favorite parts about this coach is the shower. You've got beautiful indirect lighting as well as a seat, a hidden drain there. You got plenty of height here. I'm 6'2". I can get under this shower head comfortably. And you even have the Loki Coach logo on this glass here in your little shampoo and silverware divider. They even have the Loki Coach logo on the towel in a really nice setup. And again, really nice lighting in this shower area. And with that Mach 5 water pump and the Oasis hydronic heating system, you got plenty of water pressure, maybe even more than you do in your house. Even better water pressure than some of the hotels I've stayed at. Then you also have your auxiliary water pump if you want to conserve water. It's not going to have quite as much water pressure as the Mach 5, but you're not going to go through that 170 gallons of fresh water quite as fast. So right now we do not have the engine running, and we're going to go ahead and bring in the front slide room from the tablet here. Now, right now, there is an air seal that is deflating, and then the slide is gonna run in as soon as that's deflated. And then once the slide comes all the way into the in position, that seal will inflate again to give it a tight air seal so there's no cold air leaking out on a hot day. It's also gonna keep noises out of the coach, keep heat in the wintertime, and we're almost all the way in here, and I like the way the Ceiling lines up here, just super clean. And being a triple slide coach, we still have a lot of space. We can easily get to the galley, easy seating in the front of the coach, easy walkway here through the middle into the bunk area, access to the half bathroom. Now in this custom coach, the way they had this, custom closet built, we do have to have the bed in the upright position for the rear slides to go in. So we'll just press a button right here. And again, that air seal is going to be deflating. And now that slide room is running in super smooth. These are Prevost slide rooms. Boom. And then we've got one last slide room for the bedroom here. So we'll press the rear driver's side slide room. And it takes about 3 to 5 seconds for that seal to deflate. And then now you can see the slide rooms coming in. Now, in this particular configuration, you would need to climb over the bed to get to the rear shower. Oh, getting a little bit tight here. That slide room is coming in here. That really does make it pretty narrow getting into the bedroom with this configuration. But of course, there are different size of slide rooms and different configurations depending on what type of coach you get. The best part about the Loki coach is the price. You can get a brand new quad slide under $2 million, or a brand new double slide starts around 1.75. So you can get custom stuff done and get over that $2 million price point. Like this owner did a lot of customization that, of course, there's going to be a cost to that, but they're streamlining this process where there's a coach getting ready every month. So they've got several coaches coming through their production process, and that's how they're able to keep that price point down. And I know a lot of the other brand new Prevosts are starting to push on that $3 million range. So I think it's great that Loki Coach is building something at a more obtainable price point. And you can check out the Motorcoach Store's website to see the Loki coaches that are coming through production. We're going to be trying to film them as they come through. A lot of them are already sold and spoken for. You can get a double slide, a triple slide, or a quad slide. So we'll see a lot of different variations coming through the Motorcoach Store starting in November for the 2026 model year. So if you're a serious and qualified buyer and are ready to purchase a new Loki coach, you can reach out to the team at the Motorcoach Store. Their information is available at themotorcoachstore.com. And a huge thanks to the owner of this coach for allowing Loki Coach to be able to have this on display and give us the opportunity to tour this incredible machine. And a huge congratulations to the owner of this coach. They knocked it out of the park with this design. So we really appreciate them and the team at Loki Coach for this opportunity. We greatly appreciate all of you and hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.